Hello and welcome to Domed Podcast. We are your hosts, Mistress Gemma
and Goddess Seraphyna.
Together, we will reveal the art and lifestyle of all things BDSM, kink, and femdom, sharing our musings and exploring the nuances of the taboo. Thank you for joining. Are you ready to be domed? The full range of humanity is not reachable through safety, control, or in recognition, but in the daring to risk the excitement of danger, to tread into planes that scare us, yet thrill us, assuming such risks despite not knowing what they will usher in, yet throwing ourselves into the experience anyway. Avi Saketupulu, in her book, Sexuality Beyond Consent. What is this about, right?
I'm excited. I feel like this is an episode that we've been really looking forward to.
It tickles my brain.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
It tickles my brain to tickle others' brains.
What is psychological edge play? It involves exploring the dark parts of one's mind and moving that energy and emotion to overwhelm. And that helps us access, I think, our innermost desires and vulnerabilities, and to really get to that intense level of, demanding experience for someone. You do need a certain level and intensity of sadism. Once you start, it basically starts a chain reaction that's hard to predict. And so that even though you don't know exactly where it may go or what will happen next, the person who initiates, who is the sadist in this context, does still need to remain responsible, and meaning they have to be fully present. They have to be fully engaged, constantly adapting and coming up with new ideas in the moment because of this unpredictability when you go into psychological edge play. And so instead of following a set of rules or guidelines or structure, the sadist really does have to tap into a really creative spot and create unique experiences that shapes the scene as it unfolds. I think it takes a lot more presence in that way. And from my experience in psychological edge play, it creates this mutual entanglement where both participants, we both become emotionally and psychologically invested into it. We're influencing each other's thoughts, feelings, and experience in real time. And it kind of goes beyond this conventional domination where one person is dominating, one's submitting, because both are quite affected by the whole entire scene that unfolds.
Yes.
And so certainly I think a great word for it is intense, and there's a lot of things to consider when going into psychological edge play, because it does require this deep level of ongoing negotiation in the moment and responsibility. I think it's quite different than the traditional scene that you set up, because in those scenes you can explicitly discuss what do we want to happen. The risks are more clear. And in edge play and mindfuckery, not all the risks can be accounted for. And so there's this idea of limited consent. It has many more nuances that require really paying attention to cues. And so there is inherently more risk, but basic consent practices like safe words, types of activities, mental and physical health concerns are still intact. But I think it creates this container for more exploration besides just focusing on specific activities.
Mm-hmm. It seems to be what you're explaining is like, and I've experienced lately, not to that degree, but a symbiotic relationship of one feeding the other, and it's the, but that relationship can only be formed with a lot of trust. And I think that that's something.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That is so big that, you know, I love hearing you talk about this. One, it's silly because when we decided to do this episode, and exploring it more because I didn't know, I knew the words, I didn't know the exact definitions, and it seemed to us that it's quite impossible to dom
without some psychological play. Yeah, I think I agree. It's just so core to the way I dom.
Yeah.
Playing and molding and, you know, fiddling with the mind.
Yes.
Making them question their reality in certain ways, or catching them off guard and off kilter and tripping it up. It is that overwhelm. Like, I like creating that experience of complete overwhelm that you just have to completely relinquish. Like, you just give up and give in. And you find then that lucid space of subspace.
Yes. And that activation. I don't know if we've defined subspace.
No, I don't think we have. No, we have not.
Yeah.
Would you like to?
Yeah. So I would describe subspace to be a hypnotic-like state that a sub can release into. That it's this like high-like state where the endorphins and all of these chemicals are so flooded within the system that it's so interesting. I feel like you can see when it happens, their eye
glaze over.
Glaze over. It's like this very specific look, and when it's kind of like, you know, when before you've ever orgasmed, when someone says, "Oh, well, you'll know when it happens."
Yeah, you know.
You know. And I think that the same thing happens in subspace, where it's a complete shift of energy, where this tension that is there of, do I submit? Can I submit? Am I safe enough? Do I trust this person enough to, I'm here.
Yeah, I've also heard that it's likened to like a runner's high. I think everyone experiences it differently. But yeah, there is that space of like floating, like you said, a high that occurs. And I've heard from different people, it could feel very meditative, very at peace.
Yes.
There's this presence where they're just in the moment at every given moment. And kind of everything around fades away. Time warps.
Yes, time warps.
Yeah. I think that's a huge indicator when a sub says, that felt like nothing. Like, I can't believe we're done.
Yes.
Yeah. Or if they're just laying there and they're just laying there and you could see that they're thoughtless and they're just staring into the abyss and they're just the stillness. It's like that stillness at the end that I really, really love. Yeah. But I think you have to instill quite a bit of stimulation to get there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It seems quite impossible to be able to dominate without the psychological involved, and maybe this is just our approach and our and what we love.
Yeah.
But I think that it has these layers that if you do the psychological well, it gains the trust because you're in these very intense scenarios that can and cannot feel safe at the same time.
Yeah. The thrill of it.
The thrill, which I think is amazing and so beautiful. And then, you know, at the end, there is that stillness because they are here and they did go through that. and that bond that is created through it. It's like you truly have penetrated their mind.
Yeah.
And I like that.
And I think there's this discourse of like, is psychological edge play inherently linked to trauma? I don't think so. I don't think necessarily. I think for some, they go into psychological edge play simply for the joy of boundary pushing. You know, it has nothing to do with trauma, and it's more about exploring their limits, experiencing intense emotions, or enjoying that power dynamic that's involved with pushing these psychological boundaries. Though, you know, even if it's not trauma related, it can trigger unresolved trauma or emotional distress. I think especially if an individual may not be as aware about their own emotional boundaries or history. So there's always inherent risk. For others, yes, it may be linked to trauma.
Yeah.
And they may engage in it as a way to confront and reclaim control over their trauma. It's a very complex thing. It may either help them or it can exacerbate. But going back to Saketupulu, she states that wounds, especially those related to trauma, never fully heal in a traditional sense, which I agree with.
Yes.
And instead, these unhealed wounds can then become sites of desire and even pleasure, which is called traumatophilia. And so we have this really demanding or compulsive urge to want to touch it, to pick at it, to feel it again.
Yeah.
And she uses this term exigent sadism.
Elaborate.
Okay, so I think this challenges the conventional idea that, you know, healing means closure or resolution or getting back to a pre-trauma state, which I think is impossible.
Yeah.
So through exigent sadism and poking at these wounds, we might be able to rework and re-engage with our trauma, and it could potentially be transformative, or, you know, we're able to recontextualize our relationship to trauma, and especially in these more controlled settings like BDSM, where there's negotiation and that container held for it.
Yes. I deeply, deeply relate and might be self-diagnosing.
Okay.
as
I mean, you know
well.
yourself best.
I do. And I think that it is such a beautiful, like, I'm not saying that BDSM or DS relationship is therapy, but I do believe that the body remembers. And like you said, even things can be triggered and come up when not necessarily anticipated due to the sub having no awareness. I know for things that I have experienced in my past, I forgot for a really long time. And it wasn't until I was placed in similar situations where the subconscious came to the conscious.
Where the immediacy of like the situation.
Yeah, completely. And with that, it was a space when done with safe people, and I'm not even talking about kink, but just being in a space that your body remembers to be unsafe and to relearn that. And if not just relearn that you are safe, but to be liberated in that safety.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Is such a freeing experience, and no, I am not at all the person that was before this.
Yeah. To like role play it with a different outcome.
Yes. Yeah. I believe Mr. Damiana talks about that as well, about the rewriting of the outcome is hugely when I say healing, I don't mean completion. I mean liberation.
More understanding, more awareness, and a more a capacity to actually engage with it in a healthy way.
Yes, completely.
Besides avoiding it or letting it overpower.
Yes. It is that regaining of power, and I think that there is, like, it is so funny. You know, well, we are always in power, just so you know.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Oh, no. And also, there is a symbiotic exchange of power between the dom and the sub, and I think that the sub can be in such power in wholeness and in oneness alone, it removed from the situation and also placed in it, that it is a state of choosing to be here and also choosing to trust the dom that you pick wisely.
Yeah.
To share this exchange of reworking, that it is a way to process, it is a way to truly ignite the unresolved feelings that are there. And
but I do want to make a disclaimer. Not every dom is interested in that.
no.
So these are areas, and of course consent goes both ways and limits.
Yes.
And so we're specifically talking about this, but I think there's plenty of doms that don't want to into trauma and kink. Like, that might be a line too far. So I just want to make that disclaimer.
Yeah. And I agree. And I'm more so talking, like, I'm not against it thoroughly, but I'm also not inviting it in. It's more so in the state, at least for myself, that a lot of things come up unknowingly.
Right.
Our minds have a very beautiful way of loving and protecting us,
Right.
which takes away the memories. So
Right.
if it does come up, then there's a way to work through.
And as you're saying about the body remembering, you know, we hold tension in certain places in our body, and that's a learned behavior, is to, like, tense up as trying to protect. I'm speaking still about trauma, but, like, in some schools and thoughts, it's like our body knows and it stores trauma, and that's generally where you feel stiff or where you feel pain.
Yeah, totally. And to counteract most things that I just said, and the thing that I think more so excited about in exploring is just that the ones that are purely just curious. And I think curiosity is a quality that I really love and that I really look for in my subs, and then also just
as a value.
Yeah,
Curiosity.
that it's the, hey, those waters look kind of scary.
Like, can we poke at it?
Can I drag you in, and can we, like, go for a swim, and can I have you hold your breath longer than you think you can? that it's that. It doesn't have to be trauma or therapy, and not to psychoanalyze any of this. But I do think that it is something to acknowledge that might come face to face when exploring someone's depths of their mind.
How daring are you? Let's go into types of psychological edge play.
Yes, it was something that I really wanted to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to speak about 3. Shadow play, fear play, and mindfuckery. So shadow play, it's indulging in the shadow aspects of the mind, often parts of ourselves that are repressed, hidden, or considered taboo. And so this term shadow comes from the Jungian concept, where the shadow represents the unconscious parts of ourselves. Parts of the individual that may include darker traits like fear, aggression, guilt, or shame.
Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah.
May I hear them?
I do enjoy calling out parts of my subs that and bring to their awareness that I don't think they're aware of. Or if I see a certain reaction that might be more recoiling, I like to investigate that. I'm like, what's there? Like, really anything is neutral until we put some meaning towards it. And
Yes.
yeah, maybe I'll leave it at that.
Such a tease. Okay, keep going.
Fear play. Well, pretty self-explanatory. The goal is to evoke genuine fear in the submissive or bottom, often pushing their psychological or emotional boundaries without causing actual harm. Although, again, limited consent. You never know. So you should always have some protocols of, if this takes the wrong turn, what backup do we have? Do we have potentially professional healthcare providers? Do they have a good support system? Or how do we remediate or find some kind of closure that can repair any gaping wound? Examples of fear play, let's go into that.
Yeah.
Threats, whether verbal, implied, but never intended to be real. I think like blackmailing. I mean, some blackmail could be somewhat real, I suppose, depending on the extent and the conversation and agreements. Sensory deprivation, a blindfold, restraints, breath play. Role-playing dangerous situations, like knife play, kidnapping, fantasies around sexual harassment, perhaps, blackmail as well. It falls into role-play. The illusion of risk. For example, pretending a scenario is more dangerous than it actually is. Especially if they're not aware of like all the risks. Although I do appreciate subs that do their own research. But yeah, that could be fun. I feel like that could fall under mindfuckery too. I mean, these are all like, they're not mutually exclusive. There's a lot of overlap. So mindfuckery, psychological manipulation or mental play designed to confuse, disorient, or surprise. The goal is to create a sense of mental unease, suspense, or heightened vulnerability by playing with their expectations, perceptions, and emotions. Examples of this are misdirection or false threats, leading the submissive to believe something will happen, like an extreme punishment or scenario, but then doing something entirely different. Yeah, so like pattern interrupting.
I really like pattern interrupting.
Yeah. It's the cadence. It's the kind of the journey that you're taking them on.
Yes.
Yeah. Once they get too comfortable.
Look over there.
Playing with reality, distorting their sense of time, space, or control through sensory deprivation, manipulation of the environment, or verbal cues. That brings me to a fun account, but I will not share it this time. Contradictory commands, giving conflicting instructions or making the submissive doubt their own reactions and choices.
Oh my
This
God.
is fun when they're fumbling over their words, or they're just like, I don't know. And like, I give them a moment of, okay, make a choice. And they're like, wait, what? No, I can't. Like, I'm not in the space. Like, that's not supposed to happen. Bring him to the point where they are convinced that they just need to give in.
Yeah.
Or they're just like in such a state of obedience to like, no.
Yeah.
Make this decision and figure it out.
Oh my God, so good.
Building suspense, creating a prolonged state of anticipation or fear without following through on the expected action. Yeah. A lot of verbal stuff you can do. But I think that any topic can be psychological edge play if the person receiving it has a strong emotional attachment to it. Like even the simplest of things.
Yes.
For example,
oh my gosh.
I will story time.
Yeah.
And this is not just one
No.
experience or one, person that I've encountered. This happens quite a bit where my sub and these are males, that their identity and confidence is so attached to their ability to perform or, show me that they are aroused, that they kind of mindfuck themselves. Like, I think they get so in their head about it, and I just question and I just poke at, like, why are you so attached to this?
Yeah.
Like, you think, like, that's gonna impress me? Like, maybe you need to reconsider.
I think that it like shows your awareness and your like constant analyzing of your submissive
Mm-hmm.
and pinpointing the thing in which their ego is attached
Yes, yes. I definitely, I'm like, do you think that's impressing me? Do you think that's what I value? Have you even asked what is important to me?
to. Mm-hmm.
And that their member is the least important thing to me, actually. Like, there is no use for it, really, for me. It's more of the submission that I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more often that these subs that have this and they kind of just like, what's going on? Like, they tend to come back, or one of them after months, because I like to have reflections from my subs after our time together.
I love that.
He didn't write me back, so I'm like, okay, whatever. Months later, he's like, I'm still processing this, but I would like to see you again.
Oh my gosh.
Month long of just.
I love that so much. That must have felt so validating.
Oh, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
You're like, I'm still in your mind.
Yeah. I think I told one sub before that he was the sperm that was never supposed to reach the egg. Why don't we do a little account of like kidnapping? Yeah, will you do us the honor?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Bedtime story, you guys. So, in this research, we wanted to give an account of kidnapping because I did not know, or I had heard of it, but it was something kind of on the back burner in terms of kidnapping and blackmailing. I think that it was one of the things that I heard about in the beginning of exploring just what a dominatrix is in like late teen years. And now we have a story for you.
And this was pulled from Reddit, yeah?
Reddit.
Anonymous
Reddit.
Yeah, interesting.
We've wanted to do a scene like this for years, but could never make it happen. My sub and I have been together for a long time and have clear C&C rules in place. The part that worries me is the public aspect of it. I can see that going south quickly, especially if not given a chance to explain. The closest we've been to something like this was a scene I set up during a dinner date. While not kidnapping specifically, she said it made her feel that way. We had plans to meet for dinner after I got off work. After our meal, I told her that I was going to take her someplace. She asked where, and I said she'd find out. She's always gets dressed up for our dinner dates and was wearing a dress and lingerie underneath. At the time, I had a large Ford pickup truck. I put her in the back seat and followed her in. I blindfolded her and seatbelted her in. Of course, she started to protest and whine about being scared. I have a friend who's a dom that had wanted to play with my sub for years, but I had never had the opportunity to meet her, so we set this up. The plan was to take her to my friend's house from the restaurant and not be seen. The part in the back of the truck was easy. I was parked in a public garage and no one saw me get in the back with her. During the drive, I told her that I lost a bet with someone from FetLife, and now I had to give her to the person for the weekend. I told her that she was to follow the person's instructions without fail. I told her that the person was going to be hosting a number of sex parties over the weekend and that she was to be used as a party favor. These were all fantasies of hers, being sold or given to someone else, being used as a sex slave, lots of people watching, etc. Some of these things she experienced, but never being taken against her will. My friend lives in a gated community, so I stopped before reaching the guard shack. I got in the back and gagged her. I tied her hands behind her back and then placed headphones over her ears that were playing music. I didn't want her to hear the name. I asked for the gate. I placed a hooded jacket over her shoulders and had her lay in the back seat and then covered her with a blanket. I was worried about the guards seeing her. Once we got to the house, I helped her out of the back and led her to the door. Of course, we played some mindfuck games with her about what the weekend was going to be like, but I had no intention of leaving her there. What ensued was a very fun night of bondage, impact play, and lots of sex. A true kidnapping scene would have put it over the top.
Sounds so fun.
I know, truly.
Yeah. I think mindfuckery is also a great place to plant ideas.
Yes. And I think we've planted some for you. Thank you for joining our podcast. Did you enjoy being dommed? Like, subscribe, and add your worships in the comments. Follow us on all socials linked in the bio below.